Let's talk about potassium and kidney disease. My name is Jen Hernandez. I am a registered dietitian and I'm board certified in renal nutrition. I founded Plant Powered Kidneys back in 2018 when I wanted to move away from dialysis to help people stay out of dialysis. And we've been doing that for the past 5 years now, helping people protect their kidney function and be able to continue to enjoy very wonderful lives with more foods and more fun. Now, with potassium and chronic kidney disease, this is probably one of the biggest topics, biggest questions that we get is, what do I do about my potassium in my diet? There is a lot of information online that can be really confusing. And the first thing I want to point out is look at the source of where you're getting this information. Sometimes companies like dialysis companies will be talking about a low potassium diet because dialysis patients are often needing to follow a low potassium diet. However, for earlier stages of kidney disease, like stage 3, stage 2, stage 1, sometimes even stage 4 and stage 5, a low potassium diet is not going to be the answer or the solution to your problem. We often need to look at other situations, other reasons why potassium levels can be funky, or determining if a low potassium diet is really warranted at all. Now, if you have been told to follow a low potassium diet from your provider, make sure you keep asking questions about why. Why is this something I need to follow? What about my kidney disease? What about my kidney health is telling you that a low potassium diet is right for me? Your provider should be able to explain exactly why your situation requires a low potassium diet. And also follow up with questions about the plan. What is the plan moving forward? How long should I be on this low potassium diet for? What are we going to be measuring to see if this is working? And ideally, ask for a referral to a renal dietitian who is trained and specialized in covering a low potassium diet with you to really give you support and guidance through what can be a very frustrating and confusing diet to follow. Now, let's get a little bit into more about the low potassium diet because I do want to cover some of the things that you should be thinking about in these situations. Number one, we're really going to be looking for quantity, not quality. And what I mean by that is including more variety of low potassium fruits and vegetables is going to be really helpful in giving you enough micronutrients and other nutrients like fiber that are also going to be supporting your overall and your kidney health. So aiming for more variety and volume of those lower potassium vegetables like celery, bell peppers, cauliflower, asparagus. There's a ton on our website, actually. We have a whole article. Just go to plantpoweredkidneys.com and search for low potassium diet. We've got a huge list of low potassium fruits, low potassium vegetables there that you'll be able to print off and use on your own. But I want you to be thinking again about including more of these lower potassium foods so that you can get more volume and you won't feel so restricted on a low potassium diet. Now, the other thing to also consider is it's not just fruits and vegetables that have potassium. There are other sources of potassium, including meats, that can increase the potassium intake in your diet. And if you're on a low potassium diet, it might be beneficial to look at swapping some of those higher potassium meats for plant proteins that, yes, they still do have potassium, but they also come with fiber. And fiber actually helps us control our potassium by moving a healthy gut, getting everything through the body so that we can eliminate the excess potassium that we have. Something that's really interesting, I don't think a lot of people know, is that with chronic kidney disease, the gut can actually help take over some of that potassium maintenance responsibilities. So it's really important to have a healthy gut and to be taking care of that healthy gut so that it can help with that potassium balance. If you're having gut issues, talk with your doctor about getting maybe a referral to a gastroenterologist, a GI specialist, so that you can get more follow-up on what's going on with your specific situation. And just like there are kidney specializing dietitians, there are gut specializing dietitians who can also help you get to the root cause in understanding what's going on with your health, so you can better take care of your potassium, which can mean not necessarily following a low potassium diet. Make sure you're really in conversation with your healthcare providers about your plan, your intentions, what you're going to be doing to track your potassium. One of the things we love and will always recommend is a food tracker like Chronometer. This is something that gives you a bit more of accurate information to see exactly how much potassium is going into your system. Now, it's not a perfect science and there can be some fluctuations with numbers, but if you record your intake consistently for at least a few days before your lab results, you'll at least have something to go off of when you see your labs and your doctor asks you that infamous question, what did you eat? You'll have a log that you can comb through together to decide if diet truly is a factor, or if you should be looking into some of the other considerations related to kidney disease and outside of kidney disease that can impact potassium levels. If you have other questions about a low potassium diet, make sure you drop them in the comments below and we'll be happy to follow up and help you along the way. Before I finish this up, I want to give you just some general numbers to think about when it comes to a low potassium diet, because one of the things that I do find is that a lot of people really severely restrict their potassium, and it can be quite harmful, if not deadly, to cut potassium down too low. So general healthy guidelines recommend 4,700 milligrams of potassium per day. And I'm gonna tell you, pretty much nobody gets that amount. So again, that's why it's really important to be tracking your numbers to see exactly how much potassium you are eating. Because if you're not eating very much potassium to start, that can be further evidence that the diet isn't necessarily what's causing any potassium issues, and you should be diving into it further with your healthcare provider to investigate the actual cause. Now, if you are told to be on a low potassium diet, it is important to get at least a range of what your potassium intake should be. We typically see a low potassium diet to be somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams per day. Under 2,000 milligrams is generally not recommended and not really proven to help lower potassium levels in the blood anyway. Now, one final trick I do want to share with you is potassium additives. Newer research is coming out to say that we should be looking more closely at potassium additives, just like we look at phosphorus additives for phosphorus levels. So start by reading labels of some of the things that you routinely eat. Do they have potassium additives in them? And if so, can you find an alternative that doesn't have that potassium additive as well? That alone may really help your potassium levels without making significant changes to the fruits and vegetables that you eat, or even the total amount of potassium that you eat. Well, that's all I'm going to cover for today about potassium. But again, if you have more questions, anything else that we can help you with, be sure to drop them in the comments. We're more than happy to support you on your kidney health journey.